All right, cool. Welcome back. We are on week 9, but we're doing lecture for week 8 because I fell a week behind when I was sick. I almost said when we were sick. When I was sick. So we're in week 9, and that means you should be through all of your assignments for week 9. I took out a lot of the programming assignments in the middle because Code Academy changed the assignments from what I had recorded videos for and posted. So the stuff where you're doing the Airbnb, that's gone. So there's like 4 or 5 weeks you won't have a programming assignment. And then we'll pick up with a little bit of JavaScript. Hopefully we won't hit any differences. But, you know, I create an assignment based upon a website, and then the website changes. That just happens. So if you notice anything funny, just let me know. Week 9, we have Access Project. So the Access Project, I should probably show you something about databases. I'll do that in 1 second. Okay. I'll show you how databases work. And so you need to do all of your assignments here. Of course, there's extra credit on Blackboard. You should also be doing that. So make sure you check the extra credit out. And then in my T-Lab, you have week 1 was Windows. And then week 2, 3, 4, 5 was Word. And then 6, 7, 8, 9 is Excel. So this is the last week of Excel. And then, so you should be through all of this week, the Excel stuff. And then the exams, you should go through the chapter quizzes through chapter 9. And you should do Office Lab Test Excel. You should do the Excel one since you're finishing up Excel. And while it's fresh in your head, maybe do the Excel extra credit. So all you got to do is get like 80 or better or 70 or better on the final exam for the Excel extra credit. So if you want to go through the videos before that train you, you could do that. Or you could just jump to the very last quiz in that training and take it. And if you get 70 or above, you earn that extra credit. Okay? So that's sort of the lay of the land. And for those who don't know it yet, you have under course materials a digital copy of the textbook if you paid for that, the $70 one. You might look anyhow, maybe you have it anyway, right? But you have a digital, I think everybody has a digital copy, and some people also got the hard copy who paid the $100. So that could be useful because you could search it for a phrase or a keyword or something. All right, so a little bit about Excel. Useful. Excel. Access, not Excel. A little bit about Access. I'm just looking to see what I have. And I am looking for, I think, a Word document or a document. Let me search database. That looks pretty good. Okay. Oh, that no longer looks good. I want to download that. All right. This is how databases work. Relational databases. It's a puzzle. Who was the first person to rent Die Hard?
John?
That was cool. You both said at the same time. The first person is not John, but your logic is correct. The first person would have been Tom. Okay? Huh?
How was that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we have 3 tables here, and the tables are all related, and they're related by some sort of key field, right? So there's the customers table, here's the rentals table, here's the movies table. So this would be like for a video rental store, which used to exist when I was growing up. Do you guys know video rental stores? Did you see those? Joking. But we got 3 tables, right? So when I say, hey, who is the first person to rent Die Hard? Well, Die Hard has movie ID number 1. And so I look over here in the rental transactions, and I'm just going to assume these are sequential. There's the ID for each rental transaction. And here somebody rented movie ID number 1. And it was rented by person number, 2. And person number 2 is Tom. Did you say Tom or John?
John.
Yeah, so person number 2. And then John was the next person, right? He was the next person who rented it. John. So that's it. That's how we do relational databases. So the entire idea is just grouping similar data. And then there's something called the data hierarchy. I don't know if I have it in these notes. There it is. So the data hierarchy is that databases are made up of tables. Tables are made up of records. Records are made up of fields, and fields are made up of characters. So that's the data hierarchy. So database is like the big aggregate idea that contains everything. And then databases got tables. So we could break the database down into tables. Tables are made up of records. Each record is made up of fields, and fields are made up of characters. So here, in this example, this might be the entire database. It's made up of 3 tables. Each table is made up of a record. There's one record, here's another record, here's another record, here's another record. And each record is made up of fields. Each record is made up of a CID field and a CFirst field. Customer ID, customer first name. And each field is made up of characters. So this has the characters JON. So it goes from the largest to the smallest. So if I was to add a customer's credit card information, to which table would I add it?
Customers?
Customers. If I wanted to add the customer's phone number, I add it to the customers table. What would I do if I wanted to be able to store more than one phone number for each customer? Where would I add it? Maybe just have 2 fields or 3 fields, right? So I'd have 3 columns. Phone number 1, phone number 2, phone number 3. 3 columns. Okay. Or maybe I'd create another table and call it phone number. So just pretend the rentals table kind of went off screen. I might call it phone, right? And then I'd say, okay, what's the customer ID? And I would have, what's the phone number? And I'd just get rid of this one, right? And the phone number would be like 559, right? And so I could have like 2, if I'm just associating customer IDs, I could have 2 phone numbers for the same customer ID, right? Or 3 or 4 or 5, and I just say, give me all the phone numbers for customer 1. Here they are, 0 to infinity. Number of phone numbers stored for each customer. That's how Facebook works. It's a relational database. Interesting. I don't know if I have access on here. I have keychain access. I don't have access on this laptop, so I can't show you access, unfortunately. But I've already made a video which shows you this. And, how to actually create the database in Access. And it's right here. Watch this video to see how to do this project. And you'll create customers, videos, rentals. You'll create 3 tables. And you'll create relationships between the tables. So you have to kind of say, how are the tables connected? And they're connected by their key field, right? So in the rental table, we put in the customer ID. That's called the key field. Just like when you submit your taxes, you put your social security number on your taxes. So that's what uniquely identifies you, and the government could associate what you sent in with them. What you sent in, they can associate it with you all the records about you are connected to your key field in the government databases, which is your Social Security number. Nobody else has it. It's unique to you. It'd create problems if two people have the same Social Security number. Well, I didn't get that check. I didn't make all that money. I'm not paying taxes on it. That was the other person with my Social Security, the same Social Security number. Great problems, right? So that concept of a key field is pretty critical. All right, so today we're going to talk about privacy and security. And the internet, the World Wide Web, marketing, right? And so I guess the first question is well, the first thing to say is you could have more of one and less of the other. Just generally speaking, as a society, you could have more of one and less of the other. So they're inversely related. You want more security? Great. You're getting less privacy. You want more privacy? Cool. You're getting less security. Right? Total privacy? Nobody gets searched at the airport. You're carrying a gun, you're carrying a bomb, you're carrying nothing. Nobody knows. Because nobody gets searched at the airport. You have total privacy and you have less security. So you have more privacy but less security, right? And recently, the last decade and a half, last 15 years, we've given up privacy to have more security. Searches at the airport are more rigorous. And the Patriot Act, who's going to disagree with something called the Patriot Act, right? The Patriot Act took away a lot of civil liberties and gave a lot of power to the government so that you have less privacy, but we have more security as a society. So it's a trade-off. Now, should we worry about institutions, whether they're government or corporate or otherwise, should we worry about institutions collecting information about us? How many people say yes?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. You think, yeah, that's a concern. If people have information about us, that's a concern. How many people say no? How many people say nothing? Because you don't want to be recorded, because then that information might be used wrongly against you somehow. Why? Why is it a concern? If a government or corporation or some other entity has information about you, why is that a concern?
Because they can sell it to other people to make profit out of your information.
Okay, who cares? Didn't take any skin off your back. You shop at Save On and you love Twinkies and Jimmy Beam. Who cares if somebody makes money off that? Does it harm you?
No.
I'm just being the devil's advocate. And you can fire back at me.
Well, yeah, too nice.
Yeah, it could potentially harm you. You've been eating Twinkies and drinking Jim Beam for the last 6 years. You've been trying to quit. Finally, you quit. And they recognize, because every time you go to Vons, you use your Vons card, they recognize she's no longer buying Jim Beam Twinkies. Let's send her the mailer. And they send you a mailer, Jim Beam and Twinkies. 2 for 1. And you just can't handle it. You break and you're back on eating Twinkies and drinking Jim Beam. It's not good for you. And your life ends earlier because you're not making healthy choices, because they were marketing to you to make different choices. And that happens all the time. If you look at the obesity of Americans, so here's the obesity of Americans. 1986, less than 10%, and less than 10 to 14%. 1994, getting fatter. 2002, better unloosen that belt. Especially in Texas. Down here in the South, we're getting big. Over 25% of us are obese now. Used to be no states were 25%. 2009, good go, woo-wee! That was a good dinner. We're fat. And that has a lot of costs. People don't live as long. People don't get as high of a quality of life because they can't move around. They have more physical ailments. It has a cost on the healthcare system. Why? Why? Why did that happen? That's some pretty compelling data.
What's the most recent data?
We're fatter. I can tell you that. Just keep getting big. In America, it's kind of cool to be big. It's like, if you're a guy, you got size. There's a pride to it. Like it's like it's like a guy thing a little bit now. It's like it's good to be big. Got some heft, Why did all of a sudden I went to Vietnam in 2010. I tripped out, dude. In Bali, I tripped out. I was like, hey, you know what it is? Nobody's fat. Check it out. Nobody's fat. They're all skinny. Whoa. And the only fat person I saw in Bali that was local was at McDonald's. The day I flew out, we stopped at McDonald's for breakfast. It was like, let's grab some McDonald's, get on the plane. And there was a fat Bali person there. So why did we get fat? I don't know. Some people say it's processed food. Some people say it's soda. So I went to a talk downtown Fresno, mid-2000. Jeff Scully. Scully was the president of Apple, John Scully. And he used to be the president of was it Coke? Pepsi, And Steve Jobs said to him, do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? To John Scully, and then John Scully became the CEO of Apple, and then he fired Steve Jobs after a couple of years. I think. I don't remember who fired Steve Jobs. But John Scully came here and gave a talk. He said when he was working for, which was it, Pepsi or Coke? Pepsi, right? He was working for Pepsi, he did a study. And he put Pepsi in people's homes. Put soda in people's homes. In some homes, he wanted to see when do people drink it. After mowing the yard, when they're watching the ball game. So I'm going to give you free soda. Just tell me what you were doing when you decided to drink it. Because then they can make advertisements. You just got done mowing the yard. It's time for a Pepsi. And reinforce those patterns of behavior which people already have. And he found that regardless of how much soda he put in people's homes, when he came back a week later, it was gone. Put in a 6-pack, gone. Put in a 12-pack, gone. 24 case, gone. And he realized what's important isn't figuring out what behavior people have when they drink soda. It's just getting soda into people's homes. And so when I was a kid, you'd order a large soda, you like 12 ounces at a restaurant. That's what you got. And then in high school, for me, in the 80s, right before the obesity took off, 7-Eleven had the big gulp, 16 ounces. Then went up to 32 ounces. Now it's like, went to 64, now it's like 256 big gulp bucket. See people walking out these giant vats of sugar water. Right? And so marketing companies do prey upon your weaknesses. And if they have information about you, they will exploit that to make more money for themselves. Never trust corporations or the government to look out for your best interests. They're looking out for their own best interests. And their best interests do not frequently align with your best interests. So, do we need to be concerned if governments, corporations, or other organizations have information about us? Why? Okay, so we saw one example. They might use it to market and get us to feel inadequate. The entire message behind marketing is you do not have enough. You're not good enough. You don't own enough. You're not rich enough. You're not attractive enough. You are inadequate. But if you buy Skin So Soft, You will have more love and acceptance in your life. Your children will be friendlier. They'll be kinder and have better manners. You'll be happier. Skin so soft. Buy it today. Or Coke, you will really live for the moment if you drink Coke. You will have a good time because the amount of fun you're having now is inadequate to those people on the screen. They are really enjoying life. You don't seem to know how to enjoy life, but if you have a Coke, you will be living for the moment. Drink a Coke. The entire message behind marketing is an insult. It's to make you feel inadequate. And if you purchase their product, then you have some chance, some hope of belonging, acceptance, and love, both from others and yourself. It's kind of funny. And then everybody's depressed because we're getting thousands of messages pounded into our brain that we're not good enough, rich enough, attractive enough. And so we need to sell them drugs to make them happier. But it comes with certain side effects, which might include pancreatitis, might include constipation, which is unsolvable, might include spontaneous death. But if it doesn't, you'll be happier. All right, so do we need to be concerned? Marketing companies, corporations? Okay, interesting. Any other organizations? How might they use the information against us? Well, good Lord, you would not want anybody to know that you were Jewish if you were living in Germany in the late 30s. That's not information you'd want people to know. So if somebody, oh, look, we got a list of all the Jewish people. We found it on Facebook, Hitler. Here's the Jewish organization and all their names. We need to go to their doors. Not good. They have information about you. Or in America, if you're Japanese. We're not Japanese, we're Korean. Too bad, you look close enough. We took all the Japanese and stuck them in concentration camps in America during World War II. Japanese concentration camps, America. There's like a map. Here's like the posting. If you're Japanese, go to the concentration camp. This is in the New York Times. New York Times, here's the article. Japanese people, go to concentration camps. And then, oh, here's the map. I don't know what the heck the names of those cities are. I've never seen them. I'm looking for the one. This one. Whoop, 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 whoop. We're on the map. It's not the type of history that you hear talked about often. But right out of Blackstone and Herndon, we had a Japanese concentration processing center right in Pinedale, where we took away the property of all the Japanese people and locked up Japanese people. Granted, we didn't throw them in ovens, but a lot of them didn't get their property back. So a lot of Japanese people don't use banks. Screw that. You guys took our stuff away once. Fool me once, bad on you. Fool me twice, bad on me. My accountant went to visit a family. The parents passed away. He went to visit the kids. Wealthy farming family. Immigrants. I can't remember if they're Japanese or somewhere else in Asia. I think they're Japanese. At least that fits well with the story, so I'm going to tell it that way. And moving truck was there, moving the furniture out of the parents' home. Nice farmhouse. Right? Because, you know, they passed away. Okay, so let's donate this or sell it or whatever. And my accountant, Joe, saw a coin fall from one of the couches. He bent down to pick it up. It was a gold coin. He said to the movers, wait a minute. Everything off the truck. Get it off the truck. They pulled everything back off the truck. He flipped over the furniture, started cutting it open, full of gold coins, full of gold coins, full of gold coins. They didn't trust the banks. The kids almost gave all that money away. A lot of immigrants don't. Yeah. So you wouldn't want people to know you're Japanese if you're in America at that time. Or if you lived in Cambodia, you know, there's the Pol Pot genocide where they killed all the intellectuals. Basically anybody who wore sunglasses or anybody who wore glasses. It was a teacher. And you could just Wikipedia genocide Wikipedia, and you can see all the instances throughout human history where humans have not treated others well, based upon race, based upon belief, whatever, education. Let's get rid of those people. If I ever lead a genocide, it's going to be towards corporations. I'm going to kill all the corporations because they're humans. They're people in the eyes of the law. Corporations are people in the eyes of the law. Did you know that? I'm waiting for one to run for president. I think Google should run for president. I'd vote for Google because Google gets stuff done, right? It's like they're good at organizing things. Google for president. I think it'd be cool if Google ran for president. I'd vote for Google way before Trump. So there's a cool video. And before well, let's do this. I don't know which one to show you. I've got a couple of them, but these are all highlighted here. You can get to all these by going to lectures. And then inside lectures, you have course outline, lesson plan. So I've highlighted all the ones in green, which I think are cool. So I guess we'll watch The Dark Secrets of the Surveillance State. That looks pretty good. So if you're watching this video online, you can go watch that TED Talk, and then afterwards I'll turn this video back on. So if you're watching the video, we just watched Online Privacy, How Did We Get Here? Off Book PBS Digital Studios on YouTube. And I will change that from 666 to 667. I like that one. That's pretty great. What else? How many people know about Edward Snowden? How many people do not? Cool. So Edward Snowden was a contractor, not a government employee, a contractor working for the government. He had security clearances. He was based in Oahu, Hawaii. And he saw all of the data that the government was collecting about citizens. He had concerns that that violated our rights. He took all that data and saved it to storage devices. He left the country. And then he went to Hong Kong. And he contacted a reporter from Brazil. And he trusted this reporter, read that reporter's research. And that reporter came and interviewed him in Hong Kong. And so Edward Snowden released some of the information that he had gathered. And TED Talk, Edward Snowden. Let me see if this is it. So we just watched Edward Snowden interview. The U.S. government will say, "I aided our enemies," NSA whistleblower. And then after that, we watched the Fahrenheit 9/11 trailer. And we were just discussing the shift in privacy brought about by the security, by the Patriot Act. And yeah, so that's a little bit about privacy and security.